come to order, and we would, if you'd like to join me in a pledge of allegiance, I guess. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I can say a prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for your provision. Pray that you be with us today as we discuss the city's budget, that you give us wisdom and discernment, and we just thank you for providing for us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you.
All right. Looks like we've got a quorum, and there are no citizens in the audience at the moment, so I guess we have no citizen comments.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming. Hopefully this won't take too long. We can stay here as long as we need to discuss anything. I want to make sure we go over our schedules for the next 2 months, basically, because from here on out, it kind of sets off a series of time-sensitive events.
Yep.
We want to make sure we don't miss any of them. And then over budgets, I took the notes that we got last time together and put them in there. And any other changes that you want to see, I'll make sure we get those written down. We'll also go over any questions you have. I'll give you a brief analysis of it. You have my written one already, and that's about it. Update you on some changes, and there we go. Any questions on that?
Have we gotten the information from the chief appraiser yet?
I have that right here.
Is that official or get estimate?
This is the certification of
Okay.
appraisal roll, so it's the official.
Okay.
Our adjusted taxable value is $432,336,000. So it's down by about, it went up a little bit by about $5 million from where he was estimating before, but it's still going down from last year's. And last year's.
Is it better than the estimate that we were working on before?
Yeah, it isn't quite as sharp of a decline. Let me pull that up. Previous years.
Write it down what it is.
That prior for last year. So last year's was $448 million.
So it's down from last year.
Mm-hmm.
And today, what is it today?
I'm sorry?
Today's, what is it today?
432 million.
432 versus 440.
Are you repeating?
448 million, yeah.
48, okay. Oh, that's a pretty bad decrease.
So we're talking adjusted taxable value, not market value.
That's correct,
Okay.
that's correct.
So, that's what, cities have to go through this because when taxable values go down, rates have to go up to maintain the cost of services.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. And so, moving forward in August, so on the 7th is the date by which we must submit the no new revenue and voter approval rates to the city council. So that, we don't necessarily need to do much besides just meet, and I will get those. I have to fill out some information and get it back to Stan Hemphill, the chief appraiser. It really doesn't have anything to do with this meeting. He sent me this a couple days ago, so I just got to tell him what some numbers are. Then I send that to him, and he'll get it back to us real quick. Then I give those numbers to you. The important one after August 7th is the 24th of August, and that's the last day we can file with the city secretary. And there are, let me open, I guess I'll just read it to you, sorry. So we'll have to have some budget hearings, just like last year, where we have to hold the public budget hearing the 15th day following the date the proposed budget is, or it must occur after the 15th day following the date the proposed budget is filed with the city secretary, but before the tax levy. So we have to hold a public hearing before the tax levy is adopted. The city must publish notice of the budget hearing at least one newspaper of a general circulation in the county in which the city is located between 10 and 30 days before the hearing. So we handle that, but we have to have time for 10 to 30 days for that to be published. If the proposed budget will be will require raising more revenue from property taxes than the previous year, we must include the same notice published under, and that's just, we have to have a certain notice showing, this is how much your property tax will go up by per $100,000 valuation. You must take some sort of action on the budget at conclusion of the budget hearing, and the action can either be to adopt it or to postpone the final budget. It is generally accepted that you need not adopt the budget at the end of the hearing. Before adopting the proposed budget, the city council may make any changes it considers warranted by law in the best interest of the taxpayer. So, I know that's a lot of, it's a mouthful, but that's just to say that what we need to do from here on out.
So the last thing you gave us at one of the city council meetings was that September 13th, conduct any required public hearing. Is
Yeah.
that date still the date?
That date should, that should work fine. Yeah, if it works for everyone else. You know, we have to have a quorum at those hearings.
We just have to have a regular quorum. like-
That's right, not a super majority or super quorum.
Let's just see. So, that's September 13th.
Now, let me ask you this, Will. I thought that if you stayed within the boundaries of the no new revenue, you don't have to have a public hearing.
No, you always do.
If, we do have to have a public hearing.
Okay.
It doesn't, if we stay within the boundaries that the state of Texas outlines,
Okay.
there isn't an automatic election.
That's
And
right,
there's not an
okay.
automatic, or a ability for a petition to be filed.
Got it.
Okay, so, if I'm in the
But
right
this is
year.
to, to provide, even if taxes are going down, you can have a citizen come in and say, I think taxes should go up,
Got it,
you know?
Okay,
So
all right, so September 13th is a Sunday, so.
that probably won't work.
No, I'm, yeah.
Yeah.
So, the 15th is our normal city council meeting.
We could conduct a public hearing at the city council meeting.
What day did you say that?
The 15th, September 15th is the city council meeting.
Okay.
So you could either do a public hearing prior to the meeting. I think we've done that before.
Yeah, we've done
Seems
that
like.
before,
I mean,
several,
we
I mean, more than once.
Yeah, I was just gonna think, that's what we usually do, is we just do the public hearing prior to the meeting.
Yeah.
So if we set that for the 15th, and depending, you know, I'm gonna, I think, if you set the public hearing at 5 PM and then start the city council at 6, otherwise you're gonna get too early in the afternoon for people, I'm afraid. I mean, so whatever y'all think we should do. So, then you had another one, last day for publication of budget hearing if required. So that would happen if there was an issue, or they're just saying that we've gotta have the,
Let me double check on this, and I'm gonna get with Johnny again, just to make sure we get our steps right. I was talking with him today.
okay.
He went home a little bit ago, but he was thinking that maybe we have to do 2 hearings potentially. That might be what you were thinking about.
Right, because there's a 28th, you have last day for hearing on the proposed budget, so you must have to do it sometime before the 28th.
Because you have to have it before the day you adopt the
Yeah, and then the
hearing.
last day to adopt the budget and ad valorem tax rate would be the 29th. So,
Yeah.
I think we've normally done 2, it seems to me like,
I don't remember doing 2.
but,
I don't
but I think they're
remember
kind of
that.
perfunctory. I mean, I don't think it's not, because
What's
most
the
of,
reason for 2, Will?
I'll double check on that.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Thought that
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that is if you're going over a certain amount.
it might be,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we're staying within the maximum allowable though, aren't we?
Yeah, and so I'll go on to the next
Okay.
bit, we'll come back to these. So I want to make sure you all understand this, so if anybody has a question, you can answer it, or just say, ask Will, or ask, you know, whoever.
Mhm.
But, so, we're moving forward, like last year is a special taxing unit.
Yeah.
So, last year was the first year Meadow Lakes did it, so I'm just gonna kind of read it to you, but it's, a taxing unit is one that remains subject to the 8% voter approval rate, but it's not subject to 3.5.
What does that mean exactly?
So usually if your tax rate increases by 3.5% or over, that's when the public can come and say, that's not allowed for you just to do by state law. You need our permission to do it. So as a special taxing unit, it's 8%. Now, the intent of that is to give smaller budgeted communities and school districts more flexibility, because a 3.5% increase on a very small budget is a very small increase.
Yeah.
It's like inflation, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So we're one of 4, when I copied this, it was last year's, so maybe there's 5 now, cities that have a tax rate for their, it's for maintenance and operation.
Yes.
That's the portion of 2.5 cents per $100 of valuation. In our proposed budget, oops. Sorry, trying to find my mouse. It's well below that. And not, there we go. So in the proposed, the maintenance and operation tax rate will be 0.15580. And the overall tax rate increase would be approximately 7.3%. So we would be falling underneath that threshold for the 8%, and we would have a $46,000 increase in captured revenue from it for next year. Anyways, going back to this, so that's a special taxing unit. The de minimis rate, which is also involved here, the de minimis rate is designed to give smaller communities, that same kind of idea, tax relief. So fortunately for us, or for me, Stan Hemphill and his crew go ahead and do this whole worksheet. We can go ahead and do it ourselves. That, it says combine lines 72 and 73 and subtract 74 to get your de minimis rate. But the taxing unit's no new revenue, maintenance, and operations rate. So that's the sum that equals the de minimis rate. So, and its current debt rate. So if it generates less than $500,000 increased from the previous year, that's another metric for there. So we're not generating more than $500,000 additional dollars.
So do you have to meet both of those standards, or just one or the other? The
We have
minimus and the-
we have to do both of those,
Okay.
because we're under 30,000 in population, and our de minimis exceeds the 3.5% voter approved rate. Our de minimis rate for last year was much higher. I'm sorry, I forgot exactly where it's at. And so I can, with some certainty, say that our de minimis will be similar to last year's.
Yeah, I remember we.
Last year's was .3468 per $100 evaluation. And so in this, if the city's adopted rate is equal to or lower than the de minimis rate, but exceeds the greater of the 3.5% approval rate or the 8%, then they can petition for an election. But since we're not going over the 8% increase, there's no petition for an election, which, if we were going over the 8%, they want to do a petition, that's fantastic, but we're not planning on that.
Remind me again, Will, what is the percent we're increasing?
About 7.3.
Oh, we are, wow, okay.
But that's in light of a 4-ish% decrease in property valuation.
Yeah,
So the rate will go up, but
yeah.
yeah, so it is a net increase.
So we're talking about rate increases or revenue increases?
Both,
Okay,
yeah, both. We would capture more revenue to the tune of, I think it was $46,000, and the rate would be effectively about a 3% increase.
Yeah.
Yeah, for what people would feel. On paper, the rate itself is a 7.3% increase. Does that make sense? So if a house value goes down by 4%, and we keep the same, we're losing 4%. We raise it by 7. I know that the math doesn't work exactly that way, but then we're up by 3.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Okay.
What is that, have we done a calculation on
Well, we'd have to find out what the average home, we did that when we did the marketing stuff for the, remember,
Well, if it was
you had
spread
done
over
that,
everyone,
Yeah,
of
it'd be
what
about
the
46 bucks.
average
Yeah.
home was about.
yeah, well, Johnny had the numbers, I just used his
Yeah,
numbers.
right, yeah.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So it would be about 40, if everyone's house was the same price.
Right.
Or the average amount, it'd be about $46 increased property
Per
taxes.
household.
Yeah, because that's just quick mental math of we have approximately 1,000 houses. So,
Right.
yeah. So it's not, we never want to take, I say this every time, we never want to take more than you need. But this is one, this is what is allowed within the state law for us to go up by to make sure we're planning for the future and able to fund our operations. So,
Well, then let's get to seeing what the budget looks like and see why we need the extra
All right.
46,000.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
can try to-
It's tight.
I'm sure,
It
yeah.
is very tight.
so looking at income first. And I'm gonna try to take this by each fund. So, general fund, this would gather or capture about $655,000 for the general fund. We're looking at total operating income, so that's without any transfers, of about $836,000 for the general fund.
And just as, because I'm always curious what miscellaneous income is, it's made up of building permits, court fines, and then another miscellaneous line that's on page 6, so, because I always want to know what,
Yeah, that's right. I thought about breaking that out and thought it'd be too much stuff on the page.
well, as long as you, even in parentheses, just so that way you kind of understand where that comes from, yeah.
And, so am I looking at the right thing? 'Cause I just wanna make sure. This one says fiscal year
Page two.
26.
He's on page 2.
Does it really?
Yeah,
Yeah, that should be the right thing.
but
Yeah.
it's the right thing.
That's the
It's
right
Yeah.
thing.
27.
It's for 27.
Yeah.
So, in that, we have our $215,000 transfer that has been occurring for several years, and we'll talk about that in a little bit also.
Yeah, and that comes from the utility fund.
That's from the utility fund.
Okay.
And I don't want to jump around too much
Right.
so we don't get confused,
Right.
but in the utility fund, in their budget right now, I have $100,000 for capital outlays, for capital improvements, which would be buying equipment and,
Okay.
larger purchases.
Okay.
With that transfer in, it brings us to $1,051,000 for the general fund.
Mhm.
Debt service is very straightforward. As Stan Hemphill put it, if you have a bond that goes through, you're pretty much guaranteed to be able to capture a rate, or capture money with a rate that will pay off your loan on time, or your debt. So that's what this is. It doesn't change very much from year to year. Went up by about $100 from last year.
And on the bond issue, that doesn't really, that doesn't figure into, like, the amount of revenue that we can raise each year. That's kind of it's kind of separate, right?
That's right. So it is separate. The interest and sinking fund is not considered in most of those rates that we were just talking about.
Okay,
It's more
that's what I thought.
concerned with just the maintenance and operation.
Okay.
And then going on
So
to,
when you said we're adding 7.2%, that's 7.2% of the other three funds? Or does it include 7.3% including the INS?
that, it's including the INS.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's
it's
flat, so
total-
everything
total-
else really goes up more than 7.2%. Because you
If
got a
you-
huge portion of, what is it, 400,000, 493,000, it's pretty much flat from last year.
That's right. Yeah, the overall tax rate would be 7.3 increase, but the INS is going to stay relatively the same.
Okay.
It will, I haven't got, I do have it. Shouldn't say I haven't got it. Gotta zoom back out. So this is my preliminary number. I haven't gotten the official one from Stan Hemphill. I am assuming it's gonna stay approximately the same. It may waver a little bit, which would we'd have to make some adjustments there. I'll know probably by the end of this week. He'll send it to me right away. Because if property values are going down and we need to capture that much money, this probably will change just slightly.
On
Now,
that sheet there, Will, on 2023, the year 2023,
Yeah,
is there a typo there?
I don't believe so. I think
I
that
can't imagine us, well,
that was, I think
Oh.
that the debt fell off that year.
Remember, that's because we had no debt that year. That's why, remember, we were trying to get the,
right, that's for INS, that's correct.
yeah,
But this is M and O.
oh,
Well, no, there's two different columns, Mark.
Yeah, well, yeah, I see it, I see
Yeah.
it. But I'm saying that if you look at the M and O, 2022 is, all these before it was like anywhere from like 0.3 to 0.23. All of a sudden you got 0.13.
no, that was about,
It looks like it should have been 0.2374.
Oh, I see,
That's where I'm talking about.
Oh, that's the total, Mark,
Mhm.
is the total, so.
That's the total?
this
That's the
first,
total.
yeah, this one's the
Okay.
tax rate.
Yeah.
I
So
was
that-
thinking that was the M and O.
yeah.
Okay.
That was the year that we had, that's why the
Yeah, okay,
taxes
you're
went
right,
down
yeah.
really,
I need to look at the column headings.
yeah.
So does the county know, like, what our debt obligation is, and is that how they figure out what the tax rate needs to be?
Yep, that's exactly
Really?
how it is,
Okay.
yeah. Oh, that's some of the info I'm gonna send them. I have to tell them what our our debt obligation is for this coming year, and how much we have remaining, or projected to be remaining in our debt service fund, and then they subtract that from what we can tax. So instead of $491,000, it'll be $489, because we'll have $2,000 left over, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
Okay.
So going back to revenues. Utility fund. Now here, we'll have to, pretty soon, in the coming months, start talking about maybe changing the rates a little bit, since we haven't done that in a while. As Johnny Thompson mentioned before, we do already have comparatively high rates with some of our surrounding communities, but we haven't risen them in some time. We're projected to get over $1.2 million next year for water and wastewater. Solid waste collection would be almost to $400,000, $391,000.
And that's what we anticipate the new contract for next year to be, right?
That's right. So that wouldn't go into effect until January, if I'm,
Yeah,
yeah, it wouldn't be till January. We'd probably sign it with them in October in our fiscal year if this gets approved, and then take effect in January.
This is not reflecting the increased rates, this
This-
is what we've got now?
This does reflect, I think it's a 2% increase.
Oh, okay. Is there any way, Will, that you can maybe show us a chart of other municipalities and how much they're,
Johnny had that one time, about 2 or
Yeah.
3 years ago. He had
Yeah.
a private,
yeah.
what their water
Yeah.
and sewer rates are?
Sure.
That would be
Oh.
helpful.
But one of the things, I know a friend of mine that's on Cottonwood Shores, you know, is that they had not been building up their funds to like replace water towers. So whenever we go to do anything with our utilities, we pay cash.
Mhm.
But a lot of these other cities are having to go in debt to improve their water systems. So I think sometimes you have to take that into account. Ours are higher, but we're able to do a lot of stuff on cash, you know,
Yeah.
that other cities don't. So, you know,
How can ours be higher if we get free water? The other, Marble Falls has to pay for their water.
Well, I guess we have a small customer base comparatively. We also have different costs that go into with our treatment program, and we do subsidize our other departments
Yeah.
presently
I think
through
it's,
the,
yeah. And I
Two
think,
hundred
Utility
fifty
fund.
thousand, yeah.
yeah, 215,000, which is,
If we had 5,000 customers, that might change it a little bit. We would,
Yeah.
it's a kind of an economies of scale thing. I think.
right, but,
Okay.
okay.
anyways, total operating income is the same as the total fund income projected for utility fund in 2027, which is $1.6 million, $1.65 million. And then the recreation fund, I want to point out that Councilmember Peskin sent me an email saying that she thought that this revenue projection might be a little high based on
I know, when we
inventory
get to
sold.
that,
Yeah,
I
so-
looked at that, and I think we need to discuss when we get to recreation.
Yes, okay. For them, with a $50,000 transfer in from the general fund, it comes out to $972,000. So our total revenue for 2027 fiscal year would be $4,170,000.
So, on the recreation, the 922,000, Will, does that include anything from the proprietor of the stand, the food stand over there by hole number 1?
No,
It doesn't.
Okay.
It's left out right now,
Or
even
do
though
we charge them? I think we're not charging them anything.
we're not charging them anything. They do have to cover their portion of the electricity bill.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
for that, it's kind of a pass-through, and it's a nominal amount.
Yeah, okay.
And then, just curious, what expectations have we set with that, with the operator of that stand now, the food stand now, going forward?
it's just till the end of their contract, which is June in 2027.
And then we're gonna like either invite bids for new vendors or select a new vendor.
Or we could do, well, we could do a month-to-month with with them for the snack bar, because we won't have a restaurant ready until the fall.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they're anticipating, is they'll do a month-to-month.
I don't even know what we have an agreement, because I don't think the agreement is signed, right?
No, we have no agreement yet, it's not signed,
Okay.
but it's
So
all working
we just
on.
make it evergreen month to month.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, we are month-to-month right now, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think the PFC did go ahead and approve the agreement with them, and all we're waiting for, I think, is, correct me if I'm wrong, but she needs to sign the agreement between the city and the PFC. But
I don't think I have a time when I can stop at a coffee before I run Sunday and have a
So we do have approval on all of them, and
Yeah.
we're operating as though they've all been signed. They do all need to be signed. But the lease between the PFC and PLAV is already, I guess, that both parties have agreed to it and signed it. Whether that matters, because the one between the city and the PFC hasn't technically been signed, even though it's been approved by the city and was a couple months ago, I guess that could be argued. But expectations outlined in that contract, which is a temporary one, the PFC says that they're going to come back later and do a full different agreement before this one's up and before the new building's built. Anyways, it does stipulate in there that they have to be open at certain times, that they need to be receptive to the golf course and their hours and to tournaments. They have to get, and Johnny and I went over to help her make sure she did it correctly. Insurance for liability and workman's comp. So she's submitting that today. So we're covered there. As far as their expectations moving forward for the next year, we also talked about that a little bit. I let her know that we may, at some point, ask pretty quickly for proposals, but our first step is just talking with restaurateurs. I told her I want her to have as good of a shot as possible at operating this restaurant when it comes in, but it's not a sure bet by any means. So she'll need to come at some point. Al's gonna be here in September of this year, so in 2 months. Talk to the city council about it, because right now, we don't know what their plans are for operating it at all, and we don't know if we're gonna keep the snack shop. It's doing okay now, and business is improving, but there's a lot of unknowns.
Well, let's stay on topic with the budget. I think,
I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. I think that, there's a lot of unknowns right now,
Yeah,
but,
I'm sorry, I just mean,
yeah, I think
No.
we're gonna address the whole restaurant thing pretty soon.
yeah.
Yeah,
And, I mean, it is, if we're opening in 2027, this budget shouldn't be affected too much by the construction. We might be able to plan a little bit for if we're gonna get revenue or anything, but we can amend the budget too as that becomes clearer. Because right now, I couldn't tell you if we're gonna work it out so that we do have a restaurateur finish the entire kitchen, or if we're gonna have to pay them, or if they're gonna be paying rent to
Well,
us.
yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, obviously, we're gonna have to, somebody's gonna be paying rent
Yeah,
in the new facility to us. We're not gonna give them the space for free. So we have to figure out when that's gonna take place, but we don't know yet when the completion is anticipated to be done, and we'll just have to address that when we get more of a clear picture.
yeah, I won't waste our time speculating wildly right now. Okay. All right, any questions right now on the revenues side?
No.
Okay, we got utility income is our largest share. Ad valorem taxes, our second largest, and at 24%, we have golfing services that are coming in. Hopefully, we'll be able to kind of streamline some of our golfing services so that we can capture more revenue from that, but I'm going on the data we have right now. So, this is expenses. Starting with the general fund, employee related, so that's salaries, health insurance, everything that goes towards the employees, not their pencils or desks or things like that, $516,000. I did, Councilmember Bentley, I got all available data from TML to compare wages to see how we fall with there, or comparatively. Sample sizes usually range between 70 and 120 cities that reported it. And I can go over those in a little bit also. Some of them aren't exactly aligned with our jobs, but it gives you a pretty good ballpark idea. In general, we're within an acceptable range. My goal is to make it so that we're, obviously not the highest or the lowest, but somewhere within about, I didn't go this far in, but about a standard deviation from the mean. So we're kind of right in there. For most of them. Utility workers are looking really good, but I'll stay on topic here. Anyways, total operating expenses would be $822,000. Transfers out would be $50,000. The total fund expense would be $886,000, and the net gain would be $165,000. So that is with a $215,000 transfer from the utility fund. When we go over to,
Can I ask you, what was the percent increase from last year on the wages?
wages, I've looked at 6%. 6%.
I'm looking at the consumer price index right now, and it says the consumer price index for all urban consumers increased 3.5% over 12 months ending June 30th, 2026.
And that,
And this follows a 4.2% that was in May. This was through June.
and there will, we usually do wage increases at the start of the new fiscal year. And I don't want to handcuff ourselves to being unable to. I also don't want to, or be unable to keep pace there. The idea that with this is we're going at approximately a 4% inflation. It might be a little bit lower. And then you can do a merit-based wage increase as well of up to 2% if it were 4. That way, if an employee's doing really well, which the vast majority of our employees are, and we want them to stick around, we can give them, not only keep pace with the economy, but gain a little bit of ground as well.
What about on the administrative expenses? What makes that line item up
All right,
on general
administrative
fund?
expenses. Those include, sorry, I'm just pulling that up so I got it exactly.
Okay, they're on page 7, the administrative expenses. So I didn't know, do you want to go through the individual ones versus, you can, but.
We can, I mean, if you got questions on things, so the administrative expenses should be, that's property tax collection and appraisal, we pay the county for that. City attorney, auditing expenses, elections, floodplain management is a small amount. Then we also have operating office expenses, so like beer supplies, office supplies, software licensing, which was before we had that titled like internet, legal notice publications, telephone bill, those sorts of things.
Yeah, okay. I'm just confused because like, so I'm looking on page 7.
Yeah.
You've got a line that says, like the fourth line
I'm
down,
sorry,
it
it's
says,
page 8, not 7, because the problem was he used the term administrative expenses, which, under operating, which showed all the salaries, but it really needs to be on page 8, general administrative expenses,
okay.
I
Yeah.
think.
Page 7, it really is covered up there on,
Yeah.
on employee, well, I guess employee-related.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Anyway, what I'm saying, Will, is if you see on page 7, which I don't know if you have the same package
I do.
with that, but it says under operating expenses, total admin expenses, and then it says like anticipated fiscal year 26 was 572,000. Okay, but you're saying that on here, we're only budgeting for, where'd it go? Right there, 121,000.
There, that one, that total administrative expenses, I should break that out. That's a little bit of a confusing name because it does have the employee-related expenses in there as well.
Yeah.
So that 572 is both employees and the pencils.
I think it's the terminology that's
Yeah.
throwing us off. Because you have administrative expenses and then you have other because I thought it was broken out, but it's not. In other words, so total other administrative expenses, which is the 121, consists of,
That should be consisting of, down on page 9, so they got a three-hole punch right through it. Is that page,
it just says general expenses, so, I didn't add them all up.
yeah, so that's on page 9. The, if you
Total
go-
general
It's
administrative.
9, okay, so
Yeah.
it's general administrative expense, so it's,
And those are everything in the administrative department minus our code enforcement people that go out and about and our employees. That's the general administrative operating expenses.
And that's the one that's reflecting the 121, not 74.
that's the 121,
Yep.
yeah.
So I guess, you need to relabel
It's 8 and 9, it's on page 8 and 9, so it's really general administrative
general administrative expenses.
expenses.
Well, I'm trying to tie this over to the page 2, the cover sheet where we show 836. I don't show that anywhere. I see 889, 750.
What, on the general fund?
Yeah. On page 11.
Okay.
You're right, there's a $3,000 difference there, huh? For the total fund expense and transfer there.
Okay. Well, see, 822 is the expenses on page 3. And 88, well, of course, 889, you've got this to transfer in and out. I guess what I really need to do is because the 215 is not a expense on page 11. It's a revenue.
Mhm.
It's shown as an expense, so that's, I think that's affecting your total. It is.
No, it's, that should say non-operating expenses and revenues there, because that's just breaking out the non-operating things. So that is a transfer in there. I think that maybe that column got cut off or something, but that does include the revenue as well.
Well, the 215 then should be a negative 215 because it's a negative expense because we're getting revenue from it. But it really is covered already in the income though, isn't it? Yeah, it's covered in that income, 215 on the first page or second page.
Page 2, where did you go? Page 2.
So which number were you looking at, Mark?
Well, I'm looking at page 11,
Yeah,
889,750.
right,
That's expenses.
yes,
Okay.
okay.
And on page 3, if you look at total operating expenses,
Right, it's 886.
882. Well, yeah.
So there, I see the, this is
Yeah.
something I probably should.
And 140 is not what we're transferring to the rec fund. We're transferring 50,000 on page 3.
Yes, it's 50,000 on page 3.
But aren't you looking at FY 2023?
Oh, yeah. That's
Well,
what that
maybe.
is. Yep, that's,
I thought it says 2027 on the top of mine.
No, the
Well,
the far column is 27. And it is 886,026.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 886.
Yeah,
Okay,
because they have the 50, yeah.
good. Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Once
but
again,
that
not looking at column
215
headings.
that 215 is only in this sheet, only counting as revenue for the general fund and only as expense for the
Expense for the
utility.
utility, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Okay, so going back to page, is it 3 that we're kind of looking at right now?
Yeah. Mhm.
With expenses?
Yeah, so in a big overview here of our expenses, the general fund, in large part because it is getting a $215,000 transfer from the utility fund, would be positive $165,000 next year, after transferring $50,000 to the rec fund. However, if you look at our bottom line there on page 3, for both the utility fund and the rec fund, it's a negative. So the utility fund would have $110,000 taken out of cash reserves if we did both the transfer, and this is something that we may want to change, but I have it just worked out here and we're talking about it. If we did $100,000 of capital improvements and did $215,000 transfer,
Then the utility fund is negative.
then the utility fund is negative. We probably do need some equipment. I don't know if it's quite 100,000. We could break that out as if we need it, we've talked about it, and it's not in the budget, but we'll budget for it if it really becomes apparent that we
Right.
need it.
Can you have a negative in your budget?
You can, and for the final budget, we'd have to show it as a transfer in from reserves as a revenue.
To balance it out?
Yeah, to
Okay,
balance it.
okay,
And
all
we
right.
do have that cash on hand, or, in CDs and stuff, but we do have that cash available throughout the year. We don't really want to deplete our reserves because that water tower up there, we got to do a lot with. It's probably going to cost us a couple $100,000
Yeah, so.
to have it serviced and
So,
upgraded.
yeah, so that $100,000 for the utility fund was for potential capital expenditure.
That's right. So if we took that out completely, it would be a negative 10,000, and we can probably, I tweaked it bit, so I don't know if we can squeeze out 10,000 more dollars. This is also, even though there's a 2% rate increase, still conservative estimate on utilities, going as just a baseline like we have been for the last couple of years.
So do we have a rate increase included in your expected income?
In this, yes, we do. At the last city council meeting, I kind of brought, or not the city council meeting, but budget meeting, I brought up that this is gonna have that, and I can show what it would look like without a rate increase as
But
well.
it has a 2%?
2%, yep.
Okay.
So, we've gone over the utility fund being negative. It's the recreation fund then, where the Golf Course Advisory Board has a lot of good information and suggestions that, like I said a minute ago, I'm hopeful we can get more revenue out of our recreation department, but we are going through a construction phase, and I can't guarantee that we won't lose some revenue. So there, we might want to be prepared to transfer excess funds from the general fund in an amount larger than $50,000 to help cover some of that. The same wage increases, potential wage increases, are baked into all of our employees, by the way, which would be a maximum of 6%. If we find that we would be unable to do that,
No, we talked about employees before, and I know I wrote it down on another budget here and everything, but when we're looking at the golf shop employees, full-time, we have 2 or 3?
we have 2 full-time employees out there.
2 full-time employees, and that's David and
Isaiah.
Okay? And then part-time, we have,
Part-time, we have 18, 14 on the books who've worked in the last year. And some of them are going away, but we do have a high turnover rate in the pro shop, just because we have a lot of summertime jobs.
okay, but how many are they anticipating in this budget?
In this budget, I broke it down based on staffing needs and not necessarily the employees, because I have it so there would be 12 hours of part-time work per day, 7 days a week at $15 an hour. Our employees range between $9.62 and $27 an hour for employees up there.
So we use an average of $15 per hour, and you use the number of 8 hours?
12.82 hours per week.
Per week.
Or I'm sorry, 12.2 part-time hours per day.
12.2 hours per day.
Or that can be broken out to just shy of 90 per week is what we.
So the number of employees we have fluctuates.
Mhm.
And these are strictly people in the pro shop with nothing to do with the course maintenance.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. And so you've lowered it from what we had in what we anticipate FY 2026. This is on page 18, the specifics on recreation. And I know that before you had said that we had more because of David being out so much. That's why it required more part-time workers. So we're anticipating,
I'm looking for page 18, I'm sorry.
yeah, well, you can, it's on a whole, but it's on the back of 17. 17 doesn't, you can see 17.
Oh, right at the
Golfing
bottom there.
operations. Okay. So I'm just,
Yeah, there's no two ways about it. We're gonna have to limit the time we have employees up there more.
Where is the total employment compensation on page 17?
no, it's 18,
Oh, it's on 18.
yeah, backside. And then the
Very
actual
bottom.
total is on 19 with, they total it up.
Oh, the the
They've
tolls.
got longevity pay in that, so it's totaled. It's 234,518.
And this is, I'll have to talk with David a little bit about it to make sure we can cover all of the requirements of the golf course, doing it this way, but in theory, we'd have one of our full-time guys there and one of our part-time guys there, pretty much every day, and that's it. We don't need 3, 4, 5 guys out there. If you want two, they can each have a 6-hour shift, but that's,
All right, so
That's
I'm
that.
confused though. So on page 3 of the budget, the proposed budget, on employee-related expenses, under rec fund, it says 708,000.
so this
Yep.
is, the golfing operations, that is just the pro shop there. So that's the pro
Yeah,
shop
that's why
employees.
you need to go to the specifics, because he has golfing operations, and then
On 17, you have the
and the grounds expenses. you know.
grounds maintenance expense, where this year
Oh.
we're anticipated to have $523,000. And then next year, I've increased that a little bit to $539,000.
And how many employees do we have as ground maintenance employees?
Ground maintenance employees, we have 5 of them regularly, and sometimes we have a 6th or potentially 7th. In this, I have budgeted for a 6th employee at $16 an hour, working 40 hours a week, with some benefits, or with all benefits.
So 5 full-time, did you say?
That's right. We have five employees that,
Okay. And then part-time,
we would have 1.
1.
So, I mean, if this is right, 5 employees divided by 5, that means they're all making 100,000 a year?
No, it's 279.83. That'd be
Grounds maintenance.
grand maintenance expense, salaries and wages. So if there's 5, it's 5 into 279,839.
Oh,
So it'd be 50, less than 60,000.
Yeah, let me find the exact one.
But here's the thing, is that
No, they're not.
golf course is open 12 hours, 7 to 7, supposedly. I've seen guys out there before then, but, so a full-time employee, David or Isaiah, would be there, what, 8 hours? I assume?
They should be, on average, working 8-hour shifts.
Okay, and then the other 4 hours would be with a part-time, so you'd have to have 2 part-time employees on the 4 hours, and then another part-time when one of either David or Isaiah are there. I'm trying to think of how many people, because like I know in the morning, like when we played today, there's only one, Steve is there. He was there, he's part-time. And then usually, you know, like Isaiah will come in the, must be lunchtime or something like that. Yeah, so then you would have another part-time with the full-time, but do you have 2 part-times in the morning? I'm just trying to, because you said that, how are they going to manage it? That's the,
So Will, on page 17, where it says total grounds maintenance expenses, where is the salary, or the employee compensation part of it broken out of that 514?
it's on page 19.
So the whole, the total salaries and compensation packet expense is $428,000.
It goes on page 20. I think. Yeah, page 20, that's the salaries and benefits.
428,090, is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay. Can you add that to the golf shop salaries and get the total salaries that you show on page, page 3, I guess? Yeah.
They should add up, yes.
So the employer supplied health and disability, is that mainly just, that's health insurance?
Mhm.
So we're spending $10,000 per employee on health insurance?
Yeah, it's very, very pricey.
Is that for total golf shop and,
no, it should just be, just be grounds
And
maintenance.
do they have to pay anything for their insurance towards it?
No,
They don't?
but there's no dependent coverage.
Okay.
Oh.
I don't even think teachers get free health insurance anymore. I think they have to pay. I don't know, I think we need to look at this more in depth.
Well, I think part of it comes into the salary plus compensation plus benefits, and how does that look at with, other golf courses? I mean,
yeah, I mean, that would be a good comparison.
mean-
Then you get the whole ball of wax in there.
yeah.
Well, I like this summary page for both, page 2 and 3, where you just summarize it all. But what I'd like to be able to see is maybe some line on the details where you highlight it that ties to the summary page.
Yeah, I went
It's
through
broken
it.
out such that you can't tie you gotta do some manipulations
like
to tie
maybe-
it to the front page.
Maybe number these and just say this is line 1 on this page?
Yeah, because I went through and I
Well-
added those up and to make sure that.
Some here like, well, I'm just,
Yeah.
total, total golf shop revenue, for instance, or income. That doesn't include the transfer, okay, 972. And 923 on the summary page. I think I'm on this, no, hang on, 922. You're right, it's got there, I was looking at the wrong column, 922 and 922.
Yeah.
See, the 922 on this detail page, if you could highlight that or something like that, so we could see that's what ties into the summary page. You think?
Yeah, I can.
I think that's not a problem, but if we can do that.
Yeah,
No, I appreciate that.
it takes a while to go through.
Because otherwise, we keep going back and forth, and I'm sure you're right, but it doesn't, it's not obvious.
Yeah.
When we're adding these things up real quickly with an iPhone or our heads.
Yeah, I added them all up. I went, but I do have questions on the golf, and that is some of the expenses.
Okay.
That is, I know we have, you have $83,625 for capital purchases.
Mhm.
And you had said that's for a greens mower and a ball picker.
So,
Okay.
that's right. So in there, those are 2 of the 3 things that are included in that. So one is a greens mower that I want to come back to in a moment. The other is the ball picker, and then the third is the 0% interest loan that we had this year from the administrative department to the rec department in order to purchase a tractor. So that was for $47,250. So the city council authorized me to go and purchase that if the recreation fund will repay the admin department in 2 equal loans over the next 2 fiscal years.
Okay.
So $23,625 of that 83 is repaying that loan to the general fund.
So it's 23,000, because that's one I couldn't find. $23,685.
625, I believe.
625,
which-
okay. And that's the loan, okay.
That's what's outstanding?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, and then we have the greens mower and the ball picker. Okay, and those are things they absolutely need to have in the next fiscal year, or?
So the situation of the greens mower, we have 3 operable greens mowers. 2 of them are in good condition, one's in very poor condition, but it operates. After going with our agronomist today and hearing his recommendations, I've changed our priority list, or at least my priority list a little bit. I think that we need to get a new aerator instead. That we currently have 2 of them from the 90s, and they don't have the right size tines, and they, in his words, they're not big enough or close enough together to get the job done, and we gotta make sure we use it. And so the cost on one of those is between $35,000 and $50,000, which if we wanna stay within this, this figure here, we'd be giving something up, and I'd say the green mower. We get rid of adding an additional greens mower and instead go with the aerator. They're approximately the same price.
Okay.
And we would have 3 greens mowers.
No, we'd have 2 greens mowers.
2 that are good condition.
Yeah.
1
That's, we might end up selling or just using sparingly, yeah.
Okay.
So was all 3 of these, is that sort of a must need, or is that a wish list? So in other words, you're taking one off, so it must be a wish list item.
Yeah, I mean, we can continue operating and getting
Yeah.
them mowed.
Yeah.
Having 3 is nicer because we can have 3 getting done at the same time.
Agreed,
But
agreed.
the ball picker, it's been welded together a couple times, and a new one would be really nice. We can continue welding it back together, so it's not a
What I
must.
say, what my point is, I don't want to kick something out that we absolutely need.
Right.
That's what
Right.
that's what I'm trying to ask you for.
Yes.
Nope, I don't think, it's a strongly wish for.
Okay.
And
list.
what's the price on the ball picker?
A ball picker runs about $6,000.
Okay.
Is that an attachment for the ATV, or is it its own thing?
It's an attachment that goes in front of a Kubota tractor,
Yeah.
a small Kubota tractor.
Okay.
So it's just a push
All right.
system.
So, then let me ask you this. I know we, we had the trees one day of getting them done.
Mhm.
We still have to do something. There are so many dead limbs and they keep falling. So do we have anywhere in the budget a way of consistently getting all those trees taken care of? Because, so that we don't have all these limbs falling and all these dead limbs up there. And how many, is it something, I know we were talking about when you do it on the first Monday where the course is closed, is getting an idea of how many to get the major stuff done, really done well, which means you shouldn't have to come back that year generally to do it, except for if another tree dies or something. So is that something that would come under the recreation budget for the golf course maintenance?
So I have that in here in the golf course, other grounds maintenance expenses, if I'm, maybe that's not.
I just didn't
I
see
do-
it, that's the reason I asked the question.
Is that the 111 there? Oh.
It should be about 24,000.
Because if
Where
we
did I
could,
put
I mean, 6,000 would go away to pay for a little more getting those trees done if we didn't have to have the ball picker like immediately. I think that's what I'm looking at, what's the most immediate need. I didn't see anything in there for trees, so.
I remember putting it in, and now I don't remember exactly where I put it. I'm sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
denote where that's.
But I know I looked for it, but I didn't see anything in there. It could be buried in something else, but I do think that is a priority as far as, well, I just don't want those things falling on
Oh.
people and
It's in contract labor, that's what it was.
contract labor.
Yep, I had the notes here.
Oh, okay, I meant to
yeah.
ask you what
So that,
contract.
that's where it increased,
Let me go,
for, it's $20,000 in there, and that contract labor is for our,
okay,
Mechanic.
contract labor, you have 42,200?
that's
for a
correct.
mechanic.
20,000 of that's for the mechanic.
Okay, 20,000 of
Part-time, I
that
assume.
Yep, that's right.
is the trees, okay.
And then
okay.
the 22, the extra, then the 22 remaining is the trees? Is that
Mhm.
right? Okay.
Yeah, approximately.
So
What I-
that contract labor is a combination of trees, trimming, and the mechanic.
And
That's right.
mechanic, okay,
Okay.
I can break
okay.
that out more, though, because.
that's okay, okay.
And now
I
you're-
just wanted to make sure it was in there, you know, that's, because it's just that, you know, in making a decision of what's needed, and that just is something that we've just got to do on that one.
Mhm. And there, I would like to have that done in-house. There's no denying that it'll be much more cost-effective if we're able to not give up other more
Oh,
important things.
Okay, it can be done in-house, but can they get to those high, I mean, there's a lot of dead branches that are high.
And that, probably without a significant investment into some kind of new pick truck, cherry picker, probably not, no.
Okay.
We'd still need them to come in once in a while to get those.
Okay, then, yeah.
Does our grounds people for the golf course, do they not trim trees?
They're supposed to trim trees, yes.
They, well,
Do they?
not
They
much.
must not. I took a drive the other day on the cart pass, and there's mesquite trees hanging
Oh, I
down.
know, that's what I
And
go,
it's
yes.
like, that's an obvious,
I go
cut
under
the
them all the
tree
time,
branch.
that's why I've said, I don't think they do it on a general basis,
and who,
because,
I wanna know who's supposed to be in charge of going around the golf course at least once a week to see what low-hanging fruit needs to be taken care of
That-
like that.
Yes.
yeah, that's another golf course management kind of thing. It's like today, and I forgot to tell them, the flag on number 8 has fallen down because the clip doesn't, we tried fixing it. So, I don't think anybody's looking at that, because it's so obvious, but I forgot to tell them.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody, I mean, the grounds people are out there, but I don't think they look for things, it's not their job, or at least they don't think it's their job, but they don't look for those kinds of things.
They're gonna do the work that they're told to do.
Right. So either somebody in the pro shop needs to go around every morning to every hole to see if there's an issue out there.
And they ought to carry a
In my
can of
opinion.
spray paint and spray every limb that's hanging over every cart path that can easily be cut with a
Right.
extended pole saw.
Right,
That's
Yeah.
simple.
yeah. But I think that is just a routine that nobody's done, and it
Is
needs to be
David,
done.
I mean, is he working right now?
He was out there for a couple of holes, wasn't he, with the,
Yeah, I rode around with him for a little bit. He's got his, appointment tomorrow, so that he'll be scheduling his surgery.
Yeah.
And I don't wanna talk about his business in a public
Yeah.
forum
Right,
too
right,
much.
no.
But, he is coming in, and if we wanna, he offered that if we wanna call him tonight, if we have any questions, he's gonna keep the phone by him. But he couldn't sit down or
No,
stand up.
no, he
Or lay
can't.
down, he has
He
to
can't.
change positions and
Yeah, he
everything
can't.
very
no,
frequently.
but my point is whoever's in the pro shop, that needs to be, in my opinion, part of their duties
Mhm.
is to go and drive in the morning and see what is going on that golf course.
Yeah.
Then that's when you find that the flags are broken, or there's like you said, a tree branches. I mean, we dodge tree branches all the time, and, or there's other issues on the course, but I just don't think they're aware.
David, I love him to death, and we all know he does, he's a great asset to the community, but I do know from several golf friends that David, he has not been on that course, and has not gone through that course in a while.
Right.
On a regular basis, and that's just it's a duty, but I understand why he probably hadn't. 'Cause
Right.
he didn't feel him like it.
Yeah, but what
I don't
about
blame him.
Then we need
Isaiah
to delegate
delegated?
it.
But
Yeah.
But it's gonna have to be done.
somebody needs to.
'Cause
Somebody
like
should
you
do it every
said,
day.
The workers are not gonna, they're
No,
not
no,
proactive.
no.
They'll do whatever you ask them to do. They'll react.
I know this is a
Well,
minor,
who decide, who discovers leaks on irrigation system?
Golfers,
yeah, they
Or
call,
golfers, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
That's it, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's.
But I'm gonna tell you another thing
Should be.
is that when they mow, they take the T markers and put them off.
Yeah.
And I've had to pick them up and put them back on, and I can tell from the dead grass that they've been sitting off of there for a long time. But they, you know, that's just kind of, it's not big, but it's just, it makes us look, the golf course look
Yeah,
Like neglected.
neglected, yes, that's the, but I think they need to, there's bushes that need to be trimmed, there's just, it's just, whatever we have, it needs to be in its best shape.
it should, and
You
especially if we're compensating that much and giving them free healthcare.
Yeah.
That's
But I
it's
think that,
ridiculous, I think.
those are some things that we need to look at. Now,
Needs a checklist.
There, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, if you just say go out and find something, that's not gonna be happen, but if you give a checklist like
and,
dead limbs,
T
irrigation,
markers, T markers.
T markers,
I mean,
pins.
Yep.
just,
Do just what you did. You drove around.
Yeah.
looked at the
Yeah.
course from the,
I don't even golf, I just
yeah.
thought I'd drive it and see what was going on, and I was
and then,
thoroughly underwhelmed with the way it's been maintained, so.
But that was between hole 3, the third green and the 4th hole, I assume.
Yeah, where those
Yeah.
mosquitoes
Where those
are hanging
mosquitoes
over,
kinda
yeah.
leaned
Yeah.
over.
and our people with unkempt backyards and stuff growing over, which, okay. I also have a question on the snacks and beverages. We, for our anticipated, you know, we expected to be about 43,000, and we have 29,000. Now, I do know that in the snack bar, they don't usually sell the water, or they don't sell the soft drinks, or Gatorade, snacks. I think he's still doing, he always has breakfast stuff. I assume they're still doing that, which is not done in the snack bar. So there's a possibility, I think, that he could do more, which is good in the snack bar. The other thing I looked at was the golf shop merchandise. They show that he's expected to sell, and this is what Barbara was talking about. She doesn't think that he is, but they're showing about the same amount on sales of 81,000. But what bothers me is let me find it again, darn it.
You're talking about the revenue compared?
What bothers me is the expense. Let me see.
Low profit margin on that?
26% is the profit margin, which to me is too low. So that's an area I think that could be improved somehow or other. Whether he's buying the wrong stuff and then everything has to go on sale. Right now, they have a bunch of the men's shirts on sale at 40% off, you know. I'm not a retailer, so I can't say I understand what it should be, but it just seems to me that in most golf shops that I've been in, they've gotta make more than that.
Keystone on any retail is 100% markup. And that's buying it at $50 and selling
Yeah.
it for 100. And you know
But
the nice golf
I
shops.
do know over the years, all the time that I've been here, one of the mistakes they make, they do not buy for who their customers are. Because when the various groups come by, you have to buy like this. And this means you've got to have extra small, small, medium, large, extra large. There's not a lot of women around here that play golf that are extra small. I can tell you that. That's just what it is.
I just looked up on Claude, which is AI, like ChatGPT,
Yeah,
and it says the Association of Golf Merchandisers in 2024 did a survey about profit margins, and it averaged 37% markup, but that included hard goods, which was like equipment like golf clubs, but it says their apparel was typically around 52% markup.
That's what I'm thinking. See, that's the apparel is what I think is.
Yeah, that's mostly what we sell, isn't it, is apparel.
It is.
It's
Most of
not-
what we're
we don't
selling
sell many
is,
golf clubs.
yeah. I mean, they have balls and gloves and markers and stuff like that. But I just think either they need to look at who are they purchasing from, and right now they're not doing anything that's logo, you know, because the logo won't gonna, you know, it's not gonna be there. So he's just buying stuff that's not logoed. But it just seems like we're missing an opportunity there for, but I think, again, those are kind of management issues, I
Yeah.
think, and purchasing issues. And like I said, I don't know anything about purchasing it, but I just know that you need to be able to buy for the people that
Yeah.
your normal
You gotta
clientele.
know your clientele, yeah, for sure.
Know your clientele. So that's the only point, is that I think that percent is a little low. I think that it's a possibility if that we could get some more income somewhere from that.
Well, can we get a report on what the total merchandise sales has been in the past 5 years, like year over year?
Absolutely.
Because if it's been on average, what are we budgeting for 2027? Let's see.
We're
Well,
selling,
is that it right there, those
Is-
actuals?
Isn't that on page 17?
no, those are the actuals.
Yeah, those are actuals,
They're
never mind,
actuals,
Will.
they're there.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know how you account for turnover inventory or how much you carry in inventory. See, I'm sure there's some kind of a algorithm for that, but I don't know what it is.
Well, I somehow, Carol, I think David can't be that dumb that he's buying a lot of extra small, because he sees the same people we see.
No, but
It
what,
may be the vendor may be forcing him to.
it's the vendor he
Yeah.
uses. That's what I've been
Yeah.
told, is that certain vendors say, you have to buy this.
Yeah,
It's a
that may be
package
case.
deal.
Find
So-
another vendor.
So the question, yes, that's the question. Are there other vendors that don't require you?
Yeah.
That's my question.
well,
Yes.
this, so
I
I'm
know
look-
that's why he does it. It's
Yeah.
just because the vendor forces him to.
I'm looking at previous years. If you look at fiscal year 23, on page 17,
Yeah.
golf shop merchandise sales is 115,824. And then on page 19, golf shop merchandise purchases was
Yeah.
141.
Right,
So we're in the
Lost money.
negative there.
yeah.
And then the next year, we're also in the negative.
Yeah,
By about
What,
1,000.
what are we doing? Why are we even selling anything if we're
that's my point.
at a loss? That doesn't make any sense to me.
No. I just think that's, again, there's certain operations in that pro shop I think need to be examined a little
Well,
more.
I think you ought to look at, what are we doing as far as theft is concerned? Is it possibly that there's some theft in that too?
Don't know, you know,
Yeah.
but,
Or just,
We won't know until we do our
Well,
inventory.
see, there may be, because of that, there may be that there's a certain amount of inventory they're holding. That's why I said, I don't know if there's, in retail, how you account for your inventory, you know, that you keep
Yeah.
a certain amount of inventory, but if it's inventory turns or what, I don't know how to understand what those numbers mean. And I'm not pretending to, it's just that it just looks like we ought to be making more money on that, that's all.
Or we ought to be at least not losing money. That
Right,
just-
at least not losing money, so,
Uh,
but
Well, I
anyway,
think
so I think
uh,
we have some possible upsides if we change some of our ways of doing it. And then, I know they're trying to look at this whole thing with prepaid golf and golf green fees and cart rental, and the other thing was, do we have on here the credit card fees?
yeah, I saw it
Yeah.
a while ago.
Yeah, those were, yeah. I don't know, is that a calculation from, or is that an actual number that it splits out in the report? Like, if you buy this merchandise and a certain percent is the, I don't know how it's
Should be-
accounted for,
should be like a 3% of our sale.
3%. Thought it was 6.25.
No, he's talking about credit card fees, not just
Oh,
taxes,
okay.
just credit card fees.
Credit card fees, okay.
So it would be,
3% probably all right.
but is it, is it also on golf? I mean,
Yes.
Yes.
It
Yes.
is.
Yeah, anything on a credit card.
anything on a credit card. So, you know, I don't know how we,
Well, Carol, I think, maybe it was the year before you got on, people got real huffy about that same thing. And so David said, rather than having to bump it up when we post 55 and it's $5 and
Right.
charge 58, people don't like that. They like to
Right.
see the bottom line.
Right.
So he bumped the fees up $2 on
Right.
all categories of green fees. And we can't just keep saying, okay, we need to recover these credit card fees because we already have.
well, that's my question, is that then, why do we pull it out as a how do they get that line item?
Oh, I'm sure the cash or not the cash registers, the PO, point of sale,
Yeah, the point of
Okay.
sale
I
collects
have
that.
that broken out.
Okay, so if it's included in the price of things,
Yeah,
but we already know that we're not doing much on the merchandise, is it in snacks and beverages, and is it in, you know? But anyway, that's my question
Should
on
be,
that.
yeah.
assuming that that's the total,
Right.
total there, because they use up the same cash register,
Mhm.
Yeah.
whether you buy Gatorade or a
Right.
ball cap.
Right. And I think the only other question that Barbara had was about, you know, we're not showing anything for golf carts.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there,
I mean, I don't know what we do about it. I mean,
Pass a sales tax.
well, and thank you for bringing that up. We'll revisit that. And that's potentially $30,000 of revenue from sales tax. That's how much Highland Haven captured, I
Yeah.
think, this year
Yeah.
so far. They do have one business that operates out of their town. He's like a contractor who, his home address is his business address as well. So that's how they're capturing it. But, you know, that would be a revenue source and something we could look at. I don't have it included in this budget because I
Right.
think that anytime you propose a new tax, you have to have a lot of discussion about it. And
Yeah.
I don't have the information right now to say whether or not, or to give you,
okay.
you know,
Well,
In response to that 30,000, I texted a friend of mine that was on until a couple months ago, the city council of Sunrise Beach.
yeah.
Asked him how many people they have. He said 550 people, full-timers. And there's part-timers each weekend, you know, they come in. But I doubt if they buy Amazon products and have them delivered there.
yeah.
So 550 people. And they do have a couple of businesses. There's one gas station, a bar, and a marina. But you know how much they make on sales tax? 6 figures, $100,000.
Oh
And
my
they're
God.
a lot smaller than we are.
Wow. I
So-
think
So we're not
gonna-
charging sales tax on any of the golf shop operations,
We
correct?
are state sales tax.
State, but
State,
not city.
but not
Not
city.
Yeah.
No, and that's,
Or
you
the
know,
garbage pickup.
But just to give you an idea, I did a calculation on the kind of golf cart that David would like to see, to lease, okay? And that's and 20 golf carts would lease for about $41,000 a year. Because each golf cart is $171.04 a month. And so, you know, if we go to leasing, you know, we could, that's about with what he had shown as the golf cart.
What was the leasing program? How many years are you obligated to lease a golf cart?
Let me
Yeah.
see what it says in here.
And is it lease purchase or is it
No,
residual? No? It's just out the window.
This isn't a purchase, this is strictly a lease.
But I mean, sometimes at the end
think
of
it
the
was
term,
60
you
months.
pay
Yeah.
for it. You pay that
That's a
20%
capital
more.
lease. Yeah, the capital purchase, oh gosh, the purchase we couldn't afford. I don't know the details, we'd have to ask him, but that, I was just looking at the one that he suggested, that's all. I mean, I just did a quick calculation on it, so that we could at least get some new ones if we started going, they wanted to go to a lease program mainly so we didn't have to maintain them, I
Yeah,
think.
or then
So
try
the
to sell
question
them.
is,
Yeah,
because it's expensive for us to buy them.
right.
Yeah, and then the guys that were maintain them can now trim trees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but here's the other problem we have though. The cart barn. The cart barn, I think we can only charge 40 golf carts. We only have, because we'd have to run a new power line to it because there's not enough electricity. And I think there are other outlets and stuff that they might be able to do 50 at the most. But that's where the problem comes in, is that we don't have enough space and we don't have enough the connections, and we don't have enough power. So all of that, all of that kind of figures
No problem.
Can we look into seeing if there's any grant availability for municipalities to get solar that we could put on top of the cart barn?
Oh,
Then that would be able to
well, that'd be
power
an
a lot of
idea.
our-
You'd have to get batteries too then, so they could,
Well, yeah, but we have
store it.
plenty of room around the edge of the cart barn that we could have a battery.
Outside,
Yeah,
not inside.
yeah, that's.
That's
that'd be a
where
good
the
idea.
problem is. The cart barn, we would have to either extend it larger over into that other tennis court, because it's full with what they got.
Is that other tennis court the one that's defunct? Or-
Yes, the one that we've got the snack bar sitting on,
Oh, I see, okay.
so, I
That
mean,
could be a possibility at some point, once the
at some
snack bar
point,
is moved. We could,
but again, those are all extra costs when we start looking at,
Yeah.
because a lot of people do not like gas around here, because they're smelly and they're noisy and,
Noisy, yeah.
so do we need a budget for leasing 20 more golf carts in this next fiscal year?
if,
Well, but can we charge them though, is my question.
I think we need do we need 20 new ones, and would they replace,
they would replace some.
so we could
Oh,
sell
yeah,
some
they
and
would
collect some money
replace some.
back?
But that was one of the things at the Golf Advisory Committee, but, we don't have room in the budget to add anything more in, but we do have those, the money that we put in general fund, that if something like that came up, I think we could move it from general fund to recreation if we wanted to lease. So, once we got more information, we might be able to act on it a little later.
How many electric carts we have now, Carol, do you know? Do you know, Will?
Is it
No,
50 and 30?
Huh?
Is it 50 and 30? Is that the breakdown?
It's somewhere in that
50
range.
for electrics?
I think that's about right.
See, we're already above.
See, we're at the limit.
The other thing you could do
It
is,
must be 40-40 then, 50-50 split, because
Yeah.
we're at capacity.
Yeah, it must be 40.
yeah, but one thing you could do is put lithium batteries in these things. I know it's about $3,000 a cart,
They are lithium.
but they don't take any time to charge. They go a lot more rounds.
I think the ones he has are lithium.
Yeah,
Are
they
they?
are.
Are they?
Yeah,
They
Okay.
are.
they're lithium.
The ones that we purchased most recently were lithium.
But-
Oh, well, that's perfect. Well, then,
but-
if you only have 40 at a time, but still, you can rotate them in and out so that you
Yeah.
don't need to,
I think
you need to
one
charge
of the,
40.
one of the issues he said was that apparently, a lot of the newer ones have an indication of how much it's charged.
Yeah.
And ours don't. So I think that
Hmm.
for
So
some
you-
reason,
you-
I may be wrong, but I thought I heard him say that, but I would think,
Well, this is something that.
that would be a question to look at, yeah.
This is also something the golf course advisory board could look into.
Right.
On the golf cart situation.
Yes,
Well, I guess for the question of budget though, should we put a straw man in there, a line item there for this?
Sure,
For
and
kind of a you call it miscellaneous, so we
Right.
don't pin ourselves into
Yeah.
golf
Right.
carts, but I think that's the end
Is
of
that
this
the better
discussion,
way of
because we
doing
can't
it?
solve the problem. We
Yeah.
can just have money available
Yeah.
if we decide to go that
Yeah.
way.
That's extra zero.
Yeah.
And I don't think that their conclusions have quite been met yet, but the Golf Course Advisory Board has done interviews with people. I want that show up. And it was before you showed up. Investing in the golf carts themselves does not seem to be the highest priority for our
Ah.
golfers.
But here's the problem.
Most of those guys have
Yeah,
their own.
here's the problem, is that you can't tell from the survey who's answering it. My guess is that the ones that said that have their own golf cart.
Most
So
likely,
they
yeah.
could care less about the operation of the golf
Well,
course.
the survey is mostly people in Meadow Lakes that live here.
Yes,
and-
it was
and
done
I'd say
with-
90% have their own golf cart.
It was done to
Yeah.
the MGA and the Romeos, and we sent it to the LGA and the WGA, and I sent it out to some other people that are in my couples stuff, but mostly and so the people that answered it are ones generally that play a lot, and so I would think that the whole reason that they answered the way they did was they could care less because they had their own golf cart.
Well,
But what they're not looking at is the operation of our golf course.
right.
Yeah.
So I would not, I would
I
kind of
think we need to figure out how many golf carts have a lifespan of less than 2 years before they need major overhaul.
Yes.
And let's identify how many those are, and then figure out how many we need to buy
What is the condition of them?
in
Yeah.
place of them,
yeah,
and then sell
yeah.
those old ones.
Yeah,
I mean, we need a plan to have
exactly. And so that, because if
rotating.
we can do some each year to replace it, that's the only way we're gonna be able to afford it.
Yeah,
And then the question is lease versus purchase, and purchasing is a little more difficult for us because we really don't have that kind of. I do know he would like to see the ones with the GPS because it solves a couple of problems. One, you can put warning information if there's ever
Yeah.
lightning. You can put marketing information on the stuff. You can put rules.
and also, if you wanna put boundaries on the course, on the fairway, so no cart path, you can put
Right.
it on there, it'll stop it.
It will stop it.
Yeah,
And then we really have to have, everybody's told me, so many of the ladies have said, we need marshals out there.
yeah.
And it's, to me, it's very intermittent when they have marshals. I mean,
Well, we met with the Golf Course Advisory Board, and they said that they're looking at other golf courses as an example of marshals
Yeah,
and what they provide, and I think that he said Delaware Springs had like 40 marshals on the roster.
I think it was 21 or 20.
Okay,
But it was,
on the roster, and they each work 4-hour shifts, a minimum of 3 days a week, and if they do that, then they get to play 2 rounds of free golf or something like that.
he didn't specify, once you hit that threshold, you said free golf. If you
Mhm.
worked one shift, you got one round.
Okay, you work one shift, you get 1 round of free golf, and it's a set plan.
Right.
I don't know how many marshals we've got, but there
not many,
is no structure.
there's no, I don't think there's a structure.
They're all getting free golf whenever they want to play free golf.
See, because that's the other thing that's
Oh,
not
yeah.
documented. How many people are getting,
It's documented now, we have it,
Oh,
and
is
it's
it?
a
Okay.
laundry list of people.
2,000 rounds in a year.
No, not in a year, it's year to date, that's 7 months
2,000
of free golf, and that's a lot of money,
that's a lot of money.
and this is why we're having a problem with the
Right.
budget.
Right, yeah. Again, to me, it's
Yeah.
it's management of the golf course. And that's what,
Yeah,
And it's hard to compare Delaware with Meadow Lakes. Delaware has
well, they have a huge
commercial
budget.
tax revenue
Well, yeah, they do,
from a bunch
yeah.
of businesses in the city.
And, and so we're not gonna be like them, but the point is that you can look at a variety of golf courses, like Lighthouse and Legends, and just see how do they manage this. But we definitely can improve our whole thing of managing the golf course, I think.
So we're
But
talking to
personnel
ourselves
too,
here.
I mean, it's David and Isaiah are the only two really, truly
can't, and it's the same, same thing as, you know, if we wanna see changes, you know, any position, we gotta let them know what we wanna do.
Yeah.
And we just gotta put it down in writing.
Yeah.
And if we wanna.
That's what I'm-
That's
That's
true.
what I'm saying, we can talk all day long, but
Right.
unless we
Okay.
relay that to them
Okay,
and say this is what city council expects, that
right.
we'll never get there.
I think that when the golf advisory board presents to us their final findings, we've
Yeah.
talked to them about their preliminary,
Yeah,
then we have to come up with a plan, and I don't know if that is put that in our agenda for a regular city council meeting, or should we do maybe a closed session and talk about that?
well, the problem is it has to be done in open session.
Well,
Yeah.
there are, if it's to protect business information or proprietary information or could cause reputational harm or pending litigation, we can go to executive session.
But we don't have to have an attorney there when we do it all the time.
No.
Do we?
For an executive session, you gotta have an attorney present.
Oh.
I didn't think we did, but,
We've always done it, I don't know whether we have to or not,
Right.
but we've done it.
yeah.
Well, let's look into that.
But I do think that that's,
But back to your, I was blowing my nose. Back to your point, we should have a plan because,
Yeah.
you know, we can see our bottom line. We're not making as much money as we want to be, and we're trying to cut, but we gotta, you know, we have big expenses coming up. We have golf carts that.
So, yeah, on that point, you said that I'm forgetting the term of the person who came to the golf course today,
The agronomist.
agronomist. okay.
uh-huh,
Anyhow, they said that typically golf courses have a golf course supervisor position, is that correct?
Like a superintendent or the
Yes.
supervisor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Right.
Our last.
we've always had them, but we don't really anymore.
And that's the person who really maintains the condition of the golf
Yes.
course and is on top of
Yeah.
it every single day.
Yeah,
And there's, same fella, Steve, the agronomist, was telling us that the number of graduates who have horticulture or golf course degrees or special training has gone down in
Yeah.
the last couple of years, so there's a supply issue. So it's harder and harder to get good superintendents because they can go down the road and get a higher wage somewhere else. We had Trini Solorzano was the
Mhm.
last full-time one we
Yeah.
had. And then Terry Barton was he was part-time and just kind of filling in that position for a while, and
Yeah.
he retired. He still helps out, God bless him.
So to me, like, without having that position, that's why part of the reason why the golf course
Yes.
condition is getting
yes.
worse and worse. So,
Yeah.
do we need to figure out how to budget for hiring someone like this? I mean,
You know, I wonder what the other golf courses around, you know, if they have a supervisor, and if it's something we could even do on a consulting basis?
or split one part, like works
Yeah.
half the week
Yeah.
at our course and half the week at their course? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
I
good
mean,
idea.
if there might be something that,
We do, yeah, I like that idea.
you know, just see if there's something like that that we could come up with.
Mhm.
Because in this, I don't see the wiggle room for a six-figure position.
No,
for
no.
that. We could look at training current employees,
Yeah.
and giving them commensurate salary increases. We also have had a proposal from Jason Kelly, who is a superintendent, or he has been a superintendent, where he was $2,000 a month to come in. It was just discussing green conditions and getting them in shape. But, you know, I told David we can't afford that this year, but it's something we could consider next year. So for $24,000, we'd have someone who would at least come in, and I'd need to get a couple more details, but he's done the job before.
As a golf course superintendent.
As a superintendent, yeah.
He lives
So-
here?
I don't think he lives here in
No, I
town.
think he's in
I think he's-
Austin area
I'm not sure exactly where.
or Lakeway or something, but,
I met him, he's in Dalton.
Well, I think we need to call around and find out
Yeah.
what other courses are paying their
Yeah.
superintendent.
yeah. Mhm.
Well, I think that's a high position. I think
Yeah.
it's pretty close to the position of
Yeah,
chief pro,
right.
head pro.
Yeah, it is, so. And I have one more thing about the golf course, and that is the golf fees. We have an out-of-date ordinance that lists the golf fees. And we need to restructure all those golf fees, because they've got so many different categories. And one of the things that was interesting is how many range members they have, but there's all these other weird little things that it needs to be simplified, and so that we can at least get an ordinance that matches what we're actually doing, now that they're on, well, it is gonna be put online, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because what we discovered was when they codified, they didn't codify all of our ordinances. And so I found a lot that were missing, and so they're gonna go back and do it.
Yeah, they should put those on, I think, next month.
Right.
'Cause those.
So when we see it, now we can find the ones that are, but that's how I knew that the golf ones are. But I think the membership and prepaid golf, all of those need to be looked at also.
Yeah,
So I think this is gonna kind of fall under the, with the conclusion of the golf course
It will.
advisory board and how much we should
They
be
are,
charging.
because they've looked at that and just to kind of
Yeah.
see what it is, yeah, but,
And then they can propose that to us, and then we can change the ordinance. But that's the thing, I think that we should, if we make that ordinance, then the golf pro needs to stick to it.
exactly. Because that's what it, and then I think the fees need to be posted. Fees are not posted anywhere, so they're kind of
Oh.
a little loosey-goosey, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that, you know, they have a website, and there's something on there, but there's nothing in the pro shop. And I
Huh.
just think that we need to have posted fees.
One of the problems you run into is Golf Now, because they have an algorithm. The closer you get to the next tee-off time that's unfilled,
Yeah,
they reduce the price.
right,
The algorithm does that automatically. If the course is full, they raise the price so that, or near full.
Yeah.
They raise the price. So when we start setting by city council ordinance, what the things are, how do you account for that?
I don't know.
Well, there's posted fees, and then there's a
Fees are subject,
fees online.
Yeah, online
May
fees.
be different.
Right.
than
I
the
think
other.
From
that's
third
about-
Well,
party.
that's the way to solve it,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, that's a good idea.
third-party vendor
Yeah.
fees may.
Yeah, mhm, yeah,
And they are looking into that. There's apparently, the Golf Now usage for Meadow Lakes is way more than most golf courses apparently.
yes,
And it's being used at the wrong hours,
yes.
the premium hours, for a minimal
Because I know,
revenue to us.
when I've used
Really?
golf, when I've used
Apparently.
Golf Now at other places, they're not at premium
No,
times, you know,
it's-
so,
So that's all being looked at.
yeah.
Well, plus we let our MGA and LGA and stuff like that have early morning times in the summertime. I don't know if we could get outside golfers to come in at those times anyway. We could on weekends, because a lot of these guys that come from Austin aren't gonna come here on a Wednesday. to play
Well,
golf.
you know, the reason I got some hours for the couples group was because it was when he was turning carts. Because when we were running out of carts, he knew that the one, when they went off, so, early morning, and then when the carts were coming in, he knew that the couples group, most of the people had their own golf carts. So he knew he had time to turn it, and so that's why he would block certain hours, you know, for us because of that, because we didn't use his golf carts. So, yeah, but I think I've never looked at Golf Now for here to see what hours they're giving, but they shouldn't be giving our good hours.
Well, and you know, part of the advisory committee, the golf advisory committee,
Yeah,
you know, it's one thing for them to say, here's all the enhancements that that we're looking at and ranking them. But if we could also, you know, if you could ask Brent and
Yeah.
others, look at ways to optimize our profit, if you will, profit or minimize our loss.
Well, they're looking at that.
They're
That's
looking at
part of
that.
the whole
They're
thing.
looking at transactional
Well,
data.
one of those is having posted.
Yeah, they're looking at transactional data.
fees.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
agree.
but trying to manage that and giving them the incentive, well, I mean, they're gonna have a better course from the enhancements that we're looking at
Yeah.
doing perhaps.
You know, and as far as the pro shop's concerned, is
Having a
that
profitable course.
if we can make more money, we can get more stuff that they want,
Right.
you know?
The incentive, if we can increase their profit on that.
Right.
Let it funnel back to improvements in the course.
Yep,
Yeah, there's a lot, but
There is.
as
a
far
lot.
as this budget goes, I mean, none of these changes to the golf course operations are gonna be done
no,
overnight.
no,
Probably-
Uh,
Probably
so-
not before we adopt this.
Probably
budget.
not before we adopt the budget.
no, no.
Early owns that, you know, 922,000
All right,
is the
so-
budgeted revenue or
Mhm.
that we're looking at. Was your concern that that's too high?
Yeah, yeah,
That's on the high side?
could be based on if we sell enough merchandise. So here, the merchandise sales, we're planning on $110,000, which is, how does that compare to this year's?
This year was, I think, anticipated to be about 100, I think.
80 something? Was it
Yeah, so.
Oh,
this year-
81,000.
81?
And then we were projecting 81,000. But the problem, you know, it's,
It's wait, is that an expense or is that an income?
Up at the top.
The 81,000 was purchases of merchandise.
I'm
So
sorry,
here-
yes, I was looking at the wrong
We're
one, that's
anticipating to get
purchases.
100,000 this year.
100,000,
Which is 20 over budget. However, we're, you know, for snacks sales, we're looking at a major shortage there, or a deficit, not really deficit, but a shortfall of what we were hoping to, where we're selling less than half of what we were anticipating. But that we figured out pretty quickly when we didn't have alcohol that we weren't gonna hit.
right,
that.
right, yes, and that's what, yeah, that went down, but,
So 35 is probably pretty safe on the
Yeah.
snacks and beverage.
Yeah, and it might
And
go
then-
down a little bit because, you know, we have great pizza and burgers next door now, so you might not want a PB&J.
but it's the morning that, on the weekend that he gets stuff. And
Yeah.
it's gonna be other drinks. But, yeah, we really won't know.
Well, I say that we also tell them they need to start marking up the merchandise a little bit more. Mark it up more. I mean,
Yeah, and there, probably need to implement some changes.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Maybe not the rate changes that won't go in effect till, you know, we do an ordinance based off some of the findings of the advisory board, but yeah, there can be changes tomorrow.
So, going
Okay.
back to Mark's suggestion of putting in like a straw man, would we put it someplace miscellaneous and not under like cart operations or whatever, just,
We could probably put it down as a non-operating expense, as a capital outlay, or as a loan, or a rental, if we're gonna go ahead and rent those. Yeah, and then that would bring us, based on this budget, or what we have here, to negative 142, or it was 40,000, right, for 20 of them?
yeah,
So as the placeholder, that put us at negative 160, which we can balance if we use the general fund's positive 165. Does that make sense? So we'd have it there, we wouldn't be gaining anything, and then if we don't spend any money on, we don't have any super critical needs, there are things that we do want for the utility fund, it'd be 10,000 in the hole there. So we wouldn't be stripping away our cash reserves, even
and our
with that
cash
huge-
reserves are how much? I couldn't.
I gotta pull them up, they're healthy. They're well over $1 million of available funds right now.
Okay, so we could, yeah,
We can make that work.
I think we could do that.
I think that the golf cart thing, if it is a necessity, then we need to do it. But again, I mean, I think we should budget for it at least.
Yeah, I
and
think
then-
we budget for, and at least if we can get something in FY '27, and then we budget more to replace the others and
Yeah.
do it in increments like that.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
So I think that sounds
Okay.
like a good
Yeah.
idea.
So I will get, tomorrow, I will confirm with you if we need a second public hearing, and also send out a proposal for dates for us to meet. I'll get you a chart of municipalities, this may not be tomorrow, but of their
Yeah.
rates, as well as 5 years of sales for golf shop.
We've got it,
I
I've got it
think we've got
now.
enough there.
I don't
Okay, you
need
got
that,
it, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it
And
looks
then-
like we've never run it very well, basically, I think.
I remember a few years ago, Johnny got all over David, he saw the same numbers.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't acceptable, and he started making him do inventory.
Yeah.
They weren't even doing inventory.
No, yeah, that's the other thing. I think there's some operational things that just need to be improved.
Yeah,
in the-
and there's, I think there,
It needs to be run like a business.
Well, yeah,
Because
it
it is
should
a
be run like a
business.
business.
I know.
We're paying for it to be run like a business. I mean, we're paying employees to do what.
Right.
they're-
And it's taxpayers here that are paying.
Yeah.
Taxpayers
Yeah.
are Greenpeace players.
yeah, and there's some, if there's barriers to it, we gotta break through them. You know, I've heard that we don't have enough scanners to do it, or we don't have the downtime, or whatever they are, we just gotta overcome that, because
And then
You know,
probably limiting
ex-
overtime, that's the other thing. How is your overtime anyway?
Isaiah has gotten a lot of overtime. He's really filled in when David's been out, so we had a little more overtime than we were planning on going into this year, or, throughout the year. It's not blown away, though. Our guys do a pretty good job of working their 40 hours.
Do our part-time employees, that, they get paid per hour, do
That's
they
right.
also get, any free golf?
There's very few. I know that 2 of them are on there, and I need to check if they have agreements with us. I know that a couple at the pro shop do receive that as a perk or part of their pay, and some other employees throughout the city have as well.
The one that I know that we swapped golf rounds for was with Donnie Zavala, because he did the flooring in the pro shop, and so I think it was, part of that was so much free golf, and I don't know what the agreement was, but it enabled us to be able to put the floor in and keep on budget.
Well, yeah, we saw a very long list of free golf.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a time and place, like that. I approved that one because it
Right.
was, hey,
It's a
we're
trade-off.
gonna,
Right.
I'll give you a $5,000 bill, or can I get a year of free
Right,
golf? That's
right.
kind of a
That makes
no-brainer.
sense, yeah.
Yeah.
But
But the others,
2,000 rounds is
that
more
there's-
than I imagined.
that we need to be accounted, I think. That one is really surprising to me.
And those are the documented ones.
That's the documented ones.
Yes,
I was surprised, yeah.
I think that's the key, is we just gotta we gotta have things more documented,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to one of the things we talked about earlier, the percent increase in salaries, because I said it's, my numbers here, what the internet shows is, when you search on that, is 3.5%. And you said, well, we'll reconcile it fiscal year to fiscal year. But we gotta have this thing in cement by 30 days before, or something like that, or at least by the public hearing. So we won't know the fiscal year to fiscal year. We need to figure out what months, from what month to what month, and that's why I'm saying,
What I meant by that was, so if we budget for, let's say, 6% overall, and it turns out that it's only with merit, based on our own rules, if we match inflation, CPI, and then give merit-based raises, maybe you guys instruct me to just do 5.5, if that's what it is. But if it is 4% and then a 2%, and we're only budgeted for 5%, we wouldn't be,
Do all the employees get the merit-based?
they'll have the opportunity to receive it, yes. Yep, not everyone, they, no, it's not automatic, and, yeah, they don't all get it, no.
They don't even get cost of living.
Well, they all get cost of living.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, they all get that cost of living, so that they're not losing,
Which is
ground.
based on what? What do y'all?
CPI,
CPI.
yeah.
So employee X gets 0, so his amount that was allocated from the budget goes to spread out among all the others, and then another guy gets less, or his gets spread out. So some people can make out pretty good.
So, I mean, it
And
wouldn't,
I know some of them that should.
yeah, theoretically you could, if
They're
there's,
not gonna get more than our total of 6%, right?
that wouldn't be my plan.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be my plan.
They
It,
could.
it
They
could be,
but
it could be extenuating circumstances
Of course
where,
they could, man. If otherwise we get, when we don't give somebody anything, then that lowers the 6%, because it gets spread out. See, someone's gonna get more than 6.
But if you don't pay it all, if you have some extra left over, it just stays in the
Yeah.
pot, right? I mean,
right, we don't have to spend all the money. If we don't, it's budgeting for the most we anticipate we could possibly have to spend on raises, which would be an average with, all of them broken out, so 6%.
And also, do we budget anything for Johnny's salary, an increase there?
Yep, 6%. Actually, more than, because he does, I don't think he records all of his hours, but
Yeah, let's give it. I don't know how long he's gonna keep working here, but, whatever it takes.
and who makes the final decision on the merit-based increase?
so for all employees other than myself, it's me.
Okay.
For the department heads, for the departments, I involve the department heads, but the way it goes is we sit down, talk about the employees, how their performance are, we evaluate them separately, come together and discuss it, then you sit down with the employee, give them an opportunity to understand what's being said to them, opportunity to, give any feedback, and go over, that means you get a X% raise.
Who gives the feedback? Does you give everyone feedback, or is it up to department heads?
I try to meet with them all, yeah, and as well as with the department head, yeah. So for, a utility worker, it'll be Scott and myself sitting there giving them their performance review.
Oh,
And
you both attend?
yeah, we
Oh.
try to have both attend. Same with really any official communication, if it's performance related. We try to have 2 people there. For this department, it's just me, because there's no other supervisor besides myself. And then you all decide mine, unless you want to say I can decide my own raise.
We'll think about that.
Yeah. Speaking of that, when do we need to make that decision? Do we need to talk about that?
Yeah.
It's gotta be factored into the budget, right?
Yes, and it's gotta be tied, usually be tied in with a, city council meeting.
Right.
Yeah, usually is a city council.
So our
Is it
next,
September? Do we usually do it at the September meeting?
Well,
that's too late though
I
to,
guess too late, because at the end of the month, this one was gotta be done. I mean, which has gotta be in the budget.
Right, oh, that's right, we gotta do it before the budget
That wouldn't give us enough
finalizes.
time.
So you mean in the August meeting?
Have to be in August, yeah.
Have to be in August.
And this reflects a 6% for all employees.
For every-
Not being presumptuous, just
Yeah, yeah, okay.
making sure that we
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
so
So we're gonna have to make sure in the August meeting, we
when's that
schedule
August
an
meeting?
executive session.
Let me look.
The third week of August, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to make sure that we have
Yeah.
an executive
Right, we
session for
gotta-
that, and then also maybe to discuss golf course operations.
Yes, golf course operations, and I think we ought to talk about the sales tax.
Oh, okay.
Don't y'all?
But
We should. I
That
don't
could
know
be
if
done
we
in
can do it
public.
Before the budget, though. I think we just look at that as.
Well, yes, I'm not talking with the
Oh,
budget, I'm just
yeah.
saying, to
in the next meeting, we can
I'm
talk
just
about
saying
it.
that, so our next meeting is August the 18th. I was just thinking that we ought to start discussing it, that's all, whether you think it should be August.
Well, we
or
did
September.
discuss it about, when was it, about a year
One
ago?
time, yeah, we
Yeah.
did, we just
And
didn't.
everybody just said, well, let's not, they just had some property tax increase or
Yeah.
something, and we said, let's
But,
not pile on.
but I do think that we're getting at a point that we need to find some other.
Well, I
revenue.
think the main thing on the sales tax is being able to collect it from the golf shop operations
Yes,
and the restaurant and so forth, and we need to present that in a way that, hey, we're gonna have this whole new facility, and we anticipate sales to increase by a lot with all the new facility, new people
Right.
coming in. And so we need to capture it so it can help pay for things to keep the city running well.
so if we instituted in FY '27, then whatever, if the building opens up before FY '28, it's installed
Mhm.
at the beginning of it.
Mhm.
But we can we can institute that at the
Anytime.
beginning of next
Yeah,
year,
right,
the
anytime.
calendar year, if we wanted to.
So,
We need to check with the state on how long it takes to get that all.
Yeah, and that's something I can,
Intact.
I'll add that to the
How
list,
long does
because,
it take to implement?
I, believe it or not, have never implemented a sales tax in Texas before, so I'll find out if,
Yeah.
what hearings we gotta do and all that kind of stuff.
Usually you have to get it through the Secretary of State.
Comptroller.
Oh, the controller?
Comptroller,
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking of something else I have to
Yeah.
register with the Secretary of State.
because I called him one time when I first took office, that just to ask, and I forgot everything he said, but this was complicated. So it's my big takeaway.
Yeah.
All right, is there
Okay.
anything else you'd like to discuss tonight before we get going? And then I'll email you all tomorrow, after I get with Johnny, and make sure we got the right timeline.
Okay.
When is the next meeting of budget? Is it gonna be? I know you put it on the board, but I wasn't taking notes.
We were looking, so I need to get you something by the 7th, and I don't know if that has to be a meeting or just an email. Do you remember, Vanessa?
Well, we were talking about having a hearing, oh, that was the hearing in
Flash that back up,
September.
maybe
Yeah,
that
meeting,
schedule.
regular meeting.
Yeah.
I was asking to flash that schedule back up of those proposed meeting times.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a photo. of
It was in our
So-
agenda packet for
So this is already
May.
to where we
Okay,
are.
I pulled it out of May.
Oh, it's already in the package?
It was in the May package, I pulled it out. I knew I'd seen it, so I pulled it out.
So that, the August 7th, must submit no new revenue and voter-approved tax rates to the city council. I'm thinking I gotta meet with you for that, to make it an official one. I don't recall what we did last year. And then I have to certify the proposed budget with the city secretary. And then we gotta do our public hearing as well. So I'll check on those.
So, it was the June 22nd, 23rd budget workshop. That's where it was in. So, I'm sorry, I didn't.
On that one that you mentioned on August 7th, you must submit it to the city council. What do you mean by that? Didn't we already discuss that tonight?
Not quite, because I haven't gotten them from the,
Appraisal district?
yeah.
Run that one more time, that other, that, I just wanna see that one real quick, Bill.
No new revenue and voter direction to the city council. So we're gonna have to have another budget hearing meeting prior to August 7th, right?
I don't think so. No, I think all we'd have to do is just meet there and say, here are the rates, worst case scenario.
But I mean, we have to have a meeting.
I believe,
That's what I'm trying to figure out, too.
I believe so.
August 7th, or you-
Yeah, that's what I was.
Look at my calendar and see if we did that last year.
August 7th is the first Friday in August.
That's next week?
Yeah,
Next
week.
Friday.
Yeah, it's a week from this
I
Friday.
won't be here on
fine by me.
Okay.
Yep,
Yeah. So August the 6th?
sure.
Is it gonna be an afternoon, because I have an afternoon meeting on that.
Oh, you have an afternoon
I
too?
do, yes,
Oh, you do, that Thursday?
yes, I have to leave here by 5, the latest.
We can have the meeting without you. Yeah, if that's okay with the city council.
Someone would have to record it.
Yep, I can try.
Can we bring Debbie in or something like that?
I'm not sure if she'll be here, because I know she's going on her vacation soon, but I can ask her.
Well, is Wednesday, August the 5th better?
Probably better for me.
Oh,
You won't be here?
no, I'll be here.
Oh, you'll be here.
Okay.
We could try Wednesday, August the 5th.
I'll be out that afternoon, I can meet in the morning of the fifth.
Main thing we just need is a quorum.
Is it gonna be quick?
Should be very quick.
I think it's just gonna be, what, 15 minutes maybe?
Yeah, it's just like, he's just gonna give us the numbers and that's, and we're gonna record it. I think that's,
Can we do 8:30
AM?
AM, just to get over with?
Mhm.
Of course. I mean, cause I gotta get to work.
Yeah. Good thing your coffee break.
I had my coffee before.
get us into my water aerobics time, then I can do that.
Oh,
I'll be here, I'll be hurrying.
Anytime before
I'll just
2
come.
PM on that Wednesday.
Put my hat on.
Okay, let's do that.
What time, 8:30?
8:30. That works.
Yeah, that's fine, okay, so the budget, you know. 'Cause I think that's all it's really gonna be is,
8:30 on the 5th?
Yeah.
yeah. I'm sure Barbara can't do it, because mornings are not real good for her. But we'll send her all this stuff ahead of time anyway. As long as there's 3 of us here to vote, that's all we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's it.
Is she gone because of health reasons?
Huh?
Is she gone because of health reasons this evening?
She, I don't know what this evening was, why she, but I do know in the morning, she's always said mornings are difficult because it takes her a while with whatever health issues she has is, she
I'll
does, she
move
can't.
you, adjourn.
All right. Councilman Bailey moves we adjourn. Second, all in favor?
All right.
We're adjourned.
Y'all very
All right.
good.
Thank you all for your time. Sorry I didn't have the schedule there. I wasn't anticipating not knowing that one, but I'm pretty sure we just have to meet and present that, and
Well, you know,
I'll
it's,
touch base tomorrow.
yeah. Once you get the stuff, then it'll just, all it is just me